Let's talk now about Baker Mayfield. OTAs start today.
Yeah.
And Baker Mayfield, according to reports, will not be there. And we've discussed this leading up to this.
Who's gonna see that coming?
Move. I know.
I couldn't. Wow, man.
I
He's
don't
not gonna be
understand
there?
this world anymore.
What is your takeaway, Bull?
Yeah.
He's not going to be there.
Of course he's not going to be there. He has no interest in being there. If he had any interest in potentially filling in, I don't know why I did air quotes because it was not necessary there. But if he had any interest in potentially filling in if Deshaun Watson got suspended, then he'd be there.
Yeah.
But once again, and again, I don't blame him for not being there. But if there was this new maturity from Baker, then maybe he would have showed up. He's embarrassed, he's humiliated, and he's angry. And so he's never going to show up to Browns camp. And once again, he is never going to play for the Browns. I don't care what happens.
What do you think, Mike?
I don't think it's necessarily about him being immature. I think it's mature that he didn't show up. I think just because it would have been silly. It would have been him just being like the turd in the punch bowl if he would have showed up at this. Like, how do you deal with that? You just be like, I don't know, go play with the quarterback?
If we go with Jay's theory, which I disagree with,
Right.
but if we go with Jay's theory that the Browns might want to use him if Deshaun gets suspended, then wouldn't they be okay with him being there?
They would, but even if that's the case, it would seem like just sort of a petty thing for him to show up right now, given the politics of the situation.
Particularly because it's voluntary.
Yes,
I'll
exactly.
make my point on that in a
Like,
second. But
who were the
G.
other
Bush, what do you
veterans?
got?
How many veterans were at it?
Yeah. I wasn't surprised he wasn't going to be there. The only way that would happen, that he's even remotely back in the building, would be to go talk to Andrew Berry. See, what we forget about is Kevin Stefanski. It feels a certain type of way about Baker Mayfield. You got to remember at the end of the season, Baker was saying things got to change. I don't know
threw him
about
under
this
the bus.
office. And Stefanski had to take that. He took shots. And guess what? Since that happened, Stefanski is the next up on that hot seat. He is there. It ain't Andrew Berry.
Yep.
It's him. He now has to perform and kick. This would have never been a thing if it was like, hey, Baker didn't say those comments. Now I got to perform with either Deshaun Watson or this other guy or Jacoby Brissett. And now that's on him. Stefanski is hot about it. And Barry, he's not going to bring him in there and give him the opportunity to control the narrative. That's the last thing you want.
The one thing I'll say on this is because it's a voluntary workout, he's not missing any money.
Nope.
And so I don't want to put too much into that. I think you're right. I think not showing up was the mature thing to do in this situation because he doesn't have to be there.
Right.
But it's a different narrative when it's about money. When he starts, and see, that's where I can't wait to see what the Browns are ultimately going to do. When training camp starts, typically when a player isn't there, they're fined every day. Are they going to fine him for not showing up when they don't want him to be there? So here's my bottom line before we bring in Aditi because she's on now with us. I'm going to call on the Browns to do something today. Just release Baker Mayfield and get rid of this elephant in the room. Get rid of it. Let him go. You're going to pay his salary anyhow. Everybody that might be interested in trading for him knows what's going to happen. They've seen this 1,000 times in the league. You don't want this guy. He doesn't want to be there. Just move on. Get rid of this drama. It's unnecessary because at the end of the day, that's what's going to happen. They're going to pay his $18 million salary to play for somebody else.
Right.
So just move on from this unnecessary drama and be done with it.
That's a change for you, though. You didn't want them to do that.
No, I never said what I wanted them to do.
Okay.
All I said was there still exists a possibility that he does play for the Browns.
Yeah.
And I still say that. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I don't want that to happen. But I understand the finances of it, and there is that possibility.
Yeah.
I think McNuggets has something.
But I would just tell them, release him today, let him go wherever he wants to go, and stop being petulant. These other teams know what you're going to do.
You heard him. He's telling you. What's up?
It's not that hard.